Hello, this is William McKissock with Scully Mitchell, your expense reduction specialist. And as you know, I say this in every one of my recordings, I love to support and promote other businesses on social media. And today I have a very special guest. I've got Joe Citro. He's the Chief Development and Marketing Officer with Ronald McDonald House Charities, Tampa Bay. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you and appreciate being here today.
Absolute pleasure to have you. So before we get into talking about Ronald McDonald House and you guys' area within Tampa Bay, tell us a little bit about who Joe is.
Yeah, so I'm a guy, I grew up in the area. So I grew up in like Palm Harbor, like north of Clearwater, if you will.
Yeah.
And my family was always about giving back. And that kind of led me to inspire me to follow, ironically, in my dad's kind of footsteps, since he was doing nonprofit work. And in short, I was working on my fraternity staff, and the CEO came downstairs, wanted to see me. I was kind of working, visiting some organizations in different areas, and I just found my love for nonprofit work, working alongside him, kind of seeing everything top down. When you're working at an international level and there's like 200 chapters, there's a lot going on, and so that inspired me to go into focus on raising some funding for different organizations. So I was doing consulting work in Maryland and working in Michigan and Virginia and DC. And I was traveling all those years. And I thought, I should live and work in the same city. And my whole family's back in Florida. And so why not try to come back to the area? And I found Ronald McDonald House, an organization all about families, brought me back to mine.
So family and charitable work is in your bones, you could say.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about Ronald McDonald House. Can I give us an overview of the organization before you get into kind of what your role is the Tampa Bay chapter is?
Absolutely. What I'll kind of add too is for me when I joined Ronald McDonald House, like a lot of people aren't really familiar with what Ronald McDonald House is or does. And I was a NICU baby actually myself. And so when I found out that, hey, really what we do is we ensure that every family has what they need to ensure the best health outcomes for their children. And so knowing kind of my experience, like I don't remember that, right? I was in the NICU, I have no idea, but my parents, it was very, very traumatic and very
Yeah.
challenging. And to know that I could help parents and their families navigate through such an uncertain time was amazing. And so, kind of the short version, I'll try to give the short version really is the fact that back in the 70s, we were started up in Philadelphia. That was the first Ronald McDonald House ever in the whole world. And now there's about 400 houses across the globe. And it really just goes back to the fact that unfortunately, no matter what is happening in the world, no matter kind of where you are in the world, children will still come early and children will still get sick. And it is our goal as an organization to support those families, to really provide access to care, to make sure those families can be by their child's side, to advocate for their child, to be part of their care. Because research shows, family-centered care is a critical part of a child's recovery, and that's really what we provide. We provide the opportunity for the family to be there during, again, one of the most challenging times of a family's journey in their life.
It's fantastic because I know you and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I was kind of like, I didn't really understand the depth of what Ronald McDonald House does and how it helps families in need and helps families stay together during those times. So specifically about Tampa Bay's chapter, so tell us a little bit more about what you guys are up to in this area.
Yeah, and what I would say too is really for us, the core program we have is housing. So think of it like a hotel that's right next to the hospital. That's
Yep.
really what we're providing. So we're providing not only the space for the families to stay, we provide meals, wraparound services. So we actually provide locally in Tampa Bay, we have 5 houses, 91 bedrooms. So we can house 91 families a night that stay with us. They stay for free for as long as they need. Within our houses, we provide over 55,000 hot meals a year, which is really provided by the community. So it's a great way to get involved. But we also pay for those meals if a group doesn't show up, that's going to volunteer that night. So really, we are focused on making it as simple as possible for the families to stay by their side. The other piece I'll say about Tampa is our average stay. I know that's something that you and I were talking about. The average stay is about 3 weeks. It's 17 nights. And that varies a little bit by chapter. Because again, there's so many different chapters across the world, I should say.
Yep.
But really with that fact, you have to think that that's about 3 weeks unexpected because most common reason why families stay with us is premature births, right? Either in the NICU, kind of like my story, right? I was kind of like, anyway, just navigating through that for a few weeks. And so for a lot of families, that's an unexpected cost to navigate through okay, if we live, 45 minutes or an hour away, like I know we were talking to, like you're kind of, up way up in Lutz, and that is far from St. Petersburg, where we have
Yeah.
one of our houses and where, a core hospital is for us. And so literally like that is just a commute. And that is, we're saving families about $1,000 a week between getting a hotel, gas, food, other just various kind of needs you're navigating through during really
Hmm.
challenging time. So, that's the core we do, but we also have navigated through how do we support families in Tampa Bay? How do we support families as soon as an issue is identified? So when a mom's high risk pregnancy, how can we support her? And when we have families that have kind of mental health needs, what does that look like? And that's kind of where we're headed as well to navigate through some more of that. But we really are trying to meet the various needs of the families and to really work on serving them better to meet all the various
Hmm.
needs they have, because that's only just grown. We first started just a house, and now we become, again, meals, support services, wraparound layers of just like getting food to the hospitals. Again, those, supporting high risk moms, like so many different layers as we've
Yeah.
grown.
It's absolutely fantastic. As I say, I get an insight into what you do when you and I talked a couple of weeks ago. And if you're watching this, you can reach out to Joe at his details underneath his portion of the video. I think it's amazing what you're doing because it really is important for people to be able to stay together during those times of need because it's very stressful. And another thing I want you to talk about is we mentioned this before that people now using credit cards more than cash, and you have your little bucket thing that you put your money into in the McDonald's stores. Tell us about that aspect about throwing change in or adding change to your credit cards.
Yeah, for sure. So I think in general, there's like so many different ways to get involved and give back, right? And so that could be everything from, if you're looking and saying, "Hey, I want to cook for families. I want to give back in that way." Like usually you can just bring the ingredients and come, sign up online and come to our houses to cook. You could, let's say if you want to say, "Hey, I want to, give something small. I can't do a lot." Well, hey, like give $10 a month, be part of our monthly donor program, our circle of friends. Or to
Mm-hmm.
your point too, you're saying, "Well, at the McDonald's stores, there is the opportunity to round up." And so that's something you could always do if you're, let's say, at McDonald's and you want to round up. Those are just great opportunities to support the work we do. I think that the big misnomer to kind of share is sometimes people think, "Oh, Ronald McDonald House, like you must be funded wholly by McDonald's." And that really isn't the case. McDonald's is definitely our kind of founding partner, if you will. But really most of the funding is coming from the community.
Yeah.
Really that's generating and supporting us. And the McDonald's funding is also coming from community members,
Yeah.
franchisees hosting promotions in their stores, like Roundup and different incentives like that. And then customers, rounding up their order to give back. So, it really is an organization that supports families during a really tough time, and really is the community rallying around these families. Again, most of the time, no one plans for a child to become premature, for them to have a severe medical diagnosis, to be, needing kind of 6 months of hospital stay. But we're there to support those families through each and any and every situation that occurs, because we believe in the power of family.
Yeah, fantastic. So, Joe, this has been great, and we have a very short interview. As you know, we're trying to get the message out as quickly and easily as possible. As a final thought,
Yeah.
we talked about like I've got this idea how we can fund McDonald's by throwing money in the bucket or upping the change piece in your credit card. But one thing you told me when we met a couple of weeks ago was, where does that money go?
Yeah, yeah. So again, like I said, I mean, all the monies that come through, whether it's through the McDonald's store or in your local market, that money comes to us directly. If you're looking to just get involved in local Ronald McDonald House, again, the one in Tampa Bay, we have 3 houses in St. Petersburg, 2 in Tampa, so there's so many different ways to kind of get involved in your local chapter, and really kind of where we're headed. I kind of mentioned the fact of mental health, right? We actually partner with the app Better Health. If you're familiar, we do a month free of telehealth for our families, but we're really looking at what other needs do families have that are staying with us. And,
Mhm.
again, the fact of 91 bedrooms is amazing, but there's like 400, kind of neonatal beds, if you will, in Tampa Bay. And so we can't house everyone. So how else can we meet their needs? Providing food to those hospital floors. We're inviting those families to come into the space. If they're not even staying with us, to grab food or grab coffee or just relax. And
Mhm.
so how can we continue to look at meeting the needs of the families that we have? Because again, like I said, it's a really challenging time. So we're doing our best. The community helps us do that. So can't thank enough of the community members that step up and say, "Hey, I want to be a part of this." Because again, you never know what's going to happen, but I know that, the families that stay with us, even those families there tonight, right? They are extremely grateful because they're able to be by their child's side during a really uncertain time. And we truly believe in the hope of that and the miracle that is family.
Yeah, no, it's great the work you do. So if you're watching this video, one piece to note is that anything you donate to the charity, whether it's in the stores or through the website or donating your time, it all goes to the charity. Every penny you donate, it's McDonald's doesn't get it. It goes to Ronald McDonald House. Joe, thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
No, thanks, William. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. I'll now hand it over to Dave for the weather.